High school student Casey Becker is home alone when she receives a phone call from an unknown person during which they discuss horror films. The caller turns sadistic, refusing to leave Casey alone and threatening her life. He reveals that her boyfriend Steve is bound and gagged outside on her patio and demands she answer questions about horror films if she wants him to live. After Casey answers a question about Friday the 13th incorrectly, Steve is murdered in front of her. Casey attempts to escape, but is cornered by someone wearing a ghost face costume who kills her before her parents arrive home to find her disemboweled corpses hanging from a tree. News media descend on the town in the wake of the murders, and a police investigation begins. Teenager Sydney Prescott struggles with the first anniversary of her mother Maureen's rape and murder, while a news reporter, Gail Weathers, whom Sydney despises, arrives. Among the media, Gail was responsible for spreading rumors and conspiracy theories about Maureen's death, insinuating that the imprisoned Cotton Weary, who was tried and convicted of Maureen's rape and murder, was not responsible for the crime. That night, while waiting at home for her best friend Tatum Riley to arrive, Sydney gets a taunting phone call and is attacked by Ghostface. Sydney's boyfriend, Billy Loomis, arrives immediately after. When he drops his cell phone, Sydney suspects him of making the call and flees. Billy is arrested and questioned, but later at Tatum's house, Sydney receives another ominous call. The next day, Billy is released and suspicion shifts to Sydney's father, Neil Prescott, due to the ominous phone calls having been traced to his phone. After school is suspended in wake of the murders, Ghostface ambushes the principal and stabs him to death. Tatum's boyfriend and Billy's best friend Stu, Mocker throws a party to celebrate the school's closure. Gail attends uninvited as she expects the killer to strike again. Tatum's older brother, Deputy Sheriff Dewey Riley, also looks out for the murderer at the party. Tatum goes out to the garage and is cornered by Ghostface, who crushes her neck with the garage door when she attempts to escape through the pet door. Many party attendees are drawn away after hearing of the principal's death, leaving only Sydney, Billy, their friend Randy, Stu, and Gail's cameraman Kenny. After having sex, Sydney and Billy are confronted by Ghostface, who stabs Billy. Sydney escapes from the house and seeks help from Kenny, but he is killed by Ghostface. Gail crashes her van while escaping, and Dewey is stabbed in the back while investigating in the house with Sydney taking his gun for protection. Randy and Stu show up and accuse each other of being the killer, but Sydney retreats back into the house where she finds a wounded Billy. After they let Randy inside, Sydney gives Billy the gun, who in turn shoots Randy, revealing himself to be the killer. Stu is revealed to be his accomplice by talking into a voice changer. Billy and Stu corner Sydney in the kitchen and discuss their plan to kill her and pin the murder spree on her father, whom they have taken hostage. They also reveal that they murdered her mother and framed Cotton for it as she was having an affair with Billy's father, which drove his mother away. Gail intervenes, enabling Sydney to escape and turn the tables on the killers, taunting them with a phone call and donning the Ghostface costume before knocking Billy out and killing Stu by dropping a television set on his head. An enraged Billy awakens and attacks Sydney, but Gail shoots him. Randy, wounded but alive, remarks that the killer always resurfaces for one last scare. As Billy rises, Sydney shoots Billy in the head, finally killing him. As police arrive, Dewey, badly injured, is taken away by ambulance as Gail makes an impromptu news report about the night's events.